أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. We have completed few surahs now, but what I want to do is to link all the surahs together so they all become one coherent statement. So because what did we say? One of our aim in the Quran is that we make it coherent, we link it to each other, and we link it to our lives directly. So the Fatiha, even though it's at the beginning of the Quran, however, as we said, the Fatiha is like the creed. That's like the fundamental of it, and all the rest of the Quran can be taken out from it. So the rest of the Quran is like tafsir of it. So just a kind of a glimpse of that we will take now. So in there we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Oh Allah, direct us on the straight path, sirat al-mustaqim. This was our request from Allah. This was our iltija from Allah. Now the next surah that we did was Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. In here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that the dua that you ask for, the sirat al-mustaqim you ask for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran. So this is the need for your survival has come. And there are three things that have been mentioned for or the sifat, or the qualities of a true servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are three sects that have been mentioned in Surah Fatiha. The three sects were, one was An'amta alayhim, those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favor was on them. Another one was غير المغضوب عليهم, those on whom Allah's anger was. And the third was those people who went astray. So those three sects were mentioned. And in here there are three sifat of this pious person have been mentioned who implements Quran in his life and everyone else's. So these are like beautifully linked together. Number one, it says عبدا إذا صلى, the servant, a servant who prays. And there we said إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. And these are those people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do أنعمت عليهم. On them are the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So both, like إياك نعبد, that becomes عبد. نستعين, صلى, you pray, so you have asked for assistance. So both comes hand in hand. And this is your basically your personal matters. What is your internal creed basically. This is what all this comes under. The next is those people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wrath is on them, the anger. And the reason for that was because they were given guidance, they had the knowledge, but they still chose the wrong path. Like nowadays you would have bad movies, you have peers, you will have those people who call themselves the people of knowledge, but they will be calling people toward dalal, they will be calling people to misguidance. Those are the one whom the anger of Allah is on them. And at the time were the Jews, the Yahud, Allah subhanahu comes in a hadith. So in here, when we say is the next ayah, أَرَأَيْتَ إِنْ كَانَ عَلَى الْهُدَى, this is actually the sifa of this pious person who implemented the Quran. So now he has he is on guidance because of what? Because of the knowledge that Allah sent him. They were misguided, or they were the one whom Allah's anger was on them because they left the knowledge. So I hope it makes sense, the linking I'm doing. The next one, أَوْ أَمَرَ بِالتَّقْوَى. This is now the sifa of the pious person in Iqra, where he calls people toward piety. And in there, وَلَضَّالِّينَ, not the people who have gone astray. Those are the people who are without knowledge and they are just following blindly. So this is the completely opposite, the contrast that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you how beautifully these two surahs are linked. Now, This is with regards to Iqra. After that we did Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Now you have found out that your entire needs that you need in this dunya to be successful, Allah has given to you in the Quran. Now Allah informs you further that this Quran is not something lightly. It's huge. It's something far superior. It has such azma that if it passes through a night, Allah gives it its honor. There are three different honors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions for this very night. Why? Because the Quran was revealed in. First of them was خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ, that it is better than the 1,000 months. How would it apply to the person of Quran who implements the Quran? There could be never, no one can be ever better than this person who knows the Quran, who implements the Quran. Then he is superior over all other creatures who do not have the Quran. Simple as that. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ. This, how beautiful it links together. The next is تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. Malaika are coming down, and we said of the reason for that the ulama mentions because barakat and so on, the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending this down. What would the person of Quran get out? How can we link it? You will have the protection, the unseen protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with you as long as you're sincere with Allah, like how it came in Badr. Now the last one, Salamun hiya hatta matla'il. This is the third blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this night, that it has peace throughout till Fajr. You will have peace in this dunya, tranquility, even though if you might be going through the worst of the calamities, but internally you will be satisfied. You will be actually enjoying this difficulties that you're going, because you know who you're doing it for. So you will have peace in this dunya, and when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will have peace. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. You will have radiance coming out of your face and looking at your Lord, the one whom you worked for. So this is how we link this surah. Now the next surah has three parts as well. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب. Now you have found out that is a need for you, and you have found out the honor of the Quran. Now this Quran gives you like a what do you call it? Like a mirror. You can put in front of someone, if that mirror will tell you like how it is. It's like that. I don't know what kind of example it can give you. But with this, you can, like a measure, criterion, basically. It gives you that. With this, now you will be able to measure the people as well. In here, three different qualities have been mentioned. If when Quran is presented to those people, and all those qualities comes in them, then they are your companions, they are your friend in the mission, they are those people who you need to honor. They are the people who are on the same path as you. This comes in وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ. They are those people who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, and they are firm like mountains on tawheed, in the oneness of Allah. So they're completely pure from internally. This is one they will get. Number two, وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ. Number two is وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ. They will make the nizam of salah as aam. They will establish salah basically. Now all their affairs, when it comes out to the ibadah that comes out from their physical being, all the external ibadat will be according to the sharia, according to the bayyina, according to the rule that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent. This is going to be the second quli. Third, all their wealth will be spent in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be according to the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. ذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. This is now the entire summary of the religion. So this is not like everything inclusive. We said you pray salah, but it does not mean that you just pray salah and whatever you are saying internally, you don't have any clue, you do not implement it outside. This is not complete. Same thing, you earn, you want to do zakah, you want to spend on the orphans, you want to go to hajj, umrah, you want to spend on your family. Yeah, all these are sadaqat, all these are you spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, where did you get the wealth from? Was it from interest base? Was it you were working in like alcohol shop? How did you get this wealth? All this are inclusive. It's not just that you have some portion of the religion and you think you have achieved everything. all together, then you have got ذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. So these are all the three surahs that we have, or four surahs that we have done so far, all of them linked up beautifully together. Now we will go to the next surah, even though I wanted to do summary of لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب. However, we're not going to have time to finish the surahs then, because we need to do two surahs. Number one, we're starting from Surah Adiyat, Surah Zilzal. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها. Like we have pairing in Quran for surahs, like Baqarah, Ali Imran, قل هو الله, قل أعوذ بالفلق, قل أعوذ بالناس. We have pairs of surahs. Similarly, there are sometimes more pairs that happens. Now these surahs from إذا زلزلت الأرض and the next three surahs, so four surahs together, they are in one group. So one surah is talking about Qiyamah, then the next is talking about greed, then again it's talking about Qiyamah, and then it's greed. So the first and the second are the same, and the second and the fourth are the same. I hope this makes sense, yeah? So 1 and 3 are the same, and 2 and 4 are the same. So it talks about similar topic. They're not the same, otherwise they wouldn't be here. But they are talking about similar topics. So Qiyamah greed, then Qiyamah greed. Okay, so now let's go to the surah itself, and you will link it with the previous surah. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب. In the last word we read in لم يكن الذين كفروا, we say ذلك لمن خشي ربه. That all these wa'az, or all these blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, the honors that this person will receive on Day of Judgment, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with him and they will be pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All this is because they feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly. And those people who didn't, next surah talks about them. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. When that day comes, you didn't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the choice, now it will be enforced on you. You will find out the true fear on that day. So that's how beautifully it links together. And in surah, this surah Bayyina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about two people, two different types of sects, Sharrul Bariya and Khairul Bariya. Now how they got these titles, it's not given to them because they were, for example, Khairul Bariya. They didn't get that because they were the family of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or they belonged to some sort of Sahaba family, that they were Hashemites or whatever. Yeah, it's not because of that. The reason for that was because they did good a'mal. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Because of their very deed. It's not because of who they belong to, or what kind of family they belong to, or whatever the reason was. The only reason they got these titles where they've been called Khairul Bariya is because of what they have done. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. Okay, this is the reason that they have got it, because of their deeds. So we start with the surah, even though there are many things that we can do, like the summary and so on, but it'll make it very long. But we can mention, just a quick one. In here, just a sketch of the surah. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you 6 different conditions of Qiyamah, and they are done in a way that reminds you that fear this day that's coming. One of them is wuqu'i zalzalah, the coming of quake. This is in first ayah. Number 2, ikhrajul athqal, the things that are going to be coming out from the earth, whether they are dead bodies or they are the treasures, that we will talk about this when we reach the ayah. This is number 2. Ayah number 3, وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. This is ta'ajjub of insan, this amazement. He is a shock. He is like godsmack, what they call it. He cannot, he has lost his mind at what he is seeing, basically. Is ta'ajjub. Next one, ayah number 4, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ وَحَلَا. Two ayah together. In here, the earth that will be giving witness against these people. So they will be narrating everything this criminal has done. And the next, يَوْمَئِذٍ يُسْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا. In here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about these people who will be grouped, and لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ. This is number 5. Number 6, they will be meeting their a'mal. So all these are 6 different types of ahwal of Qiyamah has been given. If anyone were to think about these and ponder over these, even one of them is sufficient for a person who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be guided, to bring their a'mal together. Now, Bismillah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the one who will make everything speak. This is happening in يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. Entirely merciful, He has informed us of Zalzalah. Warning has been given. Everyone can take this warning, everyone can take heed from it. It does not have to be a Muslim, it can be anyone. Ar-Rahim, especially merciful, He has shown His pious servants the good deeds. On Day of Judgment, they will be able to see their good deeds. Ayah number 1, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth is shaken with its earthquake, with its final quake. So when it says إِذَا, then it means when, it's in a manner, beware, be aware when such time comes in. This is like something, it should bring people attention together. إِذَا زُلْزِلَ, when this happens, meaning it's not going to be a happy situation for those people who has gone against the warning that Allah gave. This is what's happening. And another thing, by saying إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, it does not give you the explicit information of how it is, because it is out of our understanding the magnitude and how heavy it's going to be. So this is another thing. And also the ulama say, you see, in this dunya, when we have calamities, when we have issues, flood, quakes, all those things, this is because of the deeds of human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings some sort of wrath and punishment on people who take heed. Like it comes in Quran, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ. That the fasad, the things that you see, the situations where the calamities, where the punishment of Allah comes, it is only and only because of the hands of the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends punishment. Now, the ulama say that this final quake will be that all the sins of the time of the people that will be the effect of this zilzal. So now we see little zalzalas like we had recent in Pakistan, Afghanistan and so on. Before that was in Turkey and so on. Now this one, this is because of little sins of some people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed some. But this one will be because of all the sins. This will be on a different situation. And also there are opinions whether, because there are two different zalzalas going to happen. One is at the first trumpet and then at the second, because there are two trumpets that's going to happen. One is when everything will be removed from the face. This is called fana of alam. Everything will be gone. This is first, and this comes in Surah Hajj. Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakum inna zalzalata as-sa'ati shay'un 'azim. This zalzala, when it comes in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives some sort of description of it. يَوْمَ تَرَوْنَهَا تَذْهَلُ كُلُّ مُرْضِعَةٍ عَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتِ حَمْلٍ حَمْلَهَا وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this. It's so heavy if you were to really ponder over that, but we don't have that much time. But just in a nutshell, people will be like in a drunken state while they will not be. These people, the females who are carrying child, it says Amma أرضعت, that thing which is, they will lose even what they are carrying. This is the way the language has been used. She will drop that because of the zalzala, because how heavy it is. This is one. Then there is another one the ulama talks about, but it hasn't come in here. But anyway, the two zilzal that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, the explanation of it has been given in Surah Zumar. وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ ثُمَّ نُفِخَ فِيهِ أُخْرَى فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنْظُرُونَ. And the horn will be blown, and whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on the earth will fall dead, except whom Allah wills. Then it will be blown again, and at once they will be standing looking up. So one, everything gone. Second, the resurrection will happen. So they say this ayah, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ, the zilzal is talking about, is more relevant to the second trumpet, where people will be resurrected, because thereafter the earth is giving witness and the people are seeing their a'mal. So it's only makes sense that it is the second zalzala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. But Allahu alam, this is the opinions that's out there. Next, وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and the earth discharges its burdens. Why is it called burdens? Because you know how a lady who is pregnant and she is carrying this child, when she drops it, then the burden is relieved. Similarly, this earth which is carrying all these dead bodies in its tummy, it will be relieved from that, or all everything that's been there, it will throw it out. So this is what he's talking about. Ayah number 3. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا, and man will say, what is wrong with it? And we'll take the tafsir of this directly from Quran, so we don't even have to add our own words. يَقُولُ الْإِنسَانُ يَوْمَئِذٍ أَيْنَ الْمَفَرُ, on that day man will say, where is the refuge, basically, to flee. So meaning the human will see the horror of the day of judgment and he will want to flee. But of course there are no escapes, like Allah says, كَلَّا لَا وَزَرْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْمُسْتَقَرُ, no, there is no refuge unto you, unto your Lord will be the place of rest that day. So there is no salvation except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Had you worked in this dunya, like the bayyinah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent you, did you really take it that way, or you neglected it? If you have neglected it, there is no space for you, there is no salvation for you, and you will be seeing your deeds. And that's another shock that's coming later on. Like in here, the people are shocked when they see the situation of the earth, when the earth is now giving witness against them. Same thing will happen when they see their deeds. يقول الإنسان وما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها. When they look at their deeds, and they will see every single thing written down, even the little wink that they did against someone, okay, the little cheeky smile they did against someone, or they made someone unhappy because of the way they walked in front of them purposely. All of those tiny to tiny things, they will see it on their record, and the guy will be shocked. So this is the same thing. So when they're seeing their deeds on the day of judgment, there's a shock, and when they see the situation of the earth, there are two shocks. But the other shock is coming later on. Now, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا, that day it will report its news. The things you expect to not speak will speak. Like on that day, it comes in Quran, وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ لِمَ شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا قَالُوا أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. And this ayah actually is the tafsir of the two ayah. يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. That this person, that day it will report its news because your Lord has inspired it. So this is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the earth to speak. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have ordered to the skin, to everything, your flesh, that will give witness against a person. And it is not a far-stretched idea, that we cannot understand this. We can even understand it better than those people who went before us. Look at the microphones, look at the cameras, look at all those things, how they are speaking, how they are giving witness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is with our tiny imagination, with our tiny developments. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do, the master of all master, this is out of our scope of understanding. But we did ayah number 5, بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered it, and like we said, قَالُوا أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. This is the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The earth will do as it will be ordered. And from this, there is another important thing that we learn, that no one and nothing can speak till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them permission. So whether it's for you or against you, every single thing will be quiet. No one can say anything, no one can protect you, basically. You're totally alone. Ayah number 6. يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ. That day, the people will depart separated to be shown their deeds. There are two ways the ulama talks about this. Ashtata, they say they change it to like sects, so like groups. And this has been mentioned in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, And again, the Quran does tafsir of it itself beautifully. يوم يدعو الداعي إلى شيء نكر خش عن أبصارهم يخرجون من الأجداث كأنهم جراد منتشر مهطعين إلى الداع يقول الكافرون هذا يوم عسر. The day the caller calls to something forbidding, their eyes humble, they will emerge from the graves as if they were locusts, mulakhania, spreading, racing ahead toward the caller. The disbelievers will say, this is a difficult day. So people will be going in these groups, yeah, toward the caller. This is one way, but there thing we need to understand. People, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about grouping, it is grouping in a manner that the Muslims, non-Muslims, and the pious in the Muslims and the less pious to the less pious, okay. And similarly from the kuffar, the worst of the criminals to the least criminal, they will be with their people in that fashion. But however, there will be no assistance whatsoever. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ashtata, to take it by individual, but they will be alone. وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرُدًا. And all of them are coming to Him on that day of resurrection alone. Or in a different place, وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Nearest meaning, you will be gathered in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be totally alone, like how you were alone when you came to this dunya. You didn't come in a big group, yeah? So you'll be alone in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there as well. Ayah number 7. فَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. So whoever does an atom weight of good will see it. And there is a bit of talk in this ayah, however, but we will make it very short so it becomes easy. So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it. Now to add the extra part, the one which hasn't been wasted because of shirk, because of sins, because of showing off. So those are the deeds that the person will be able to see it in a fashion that they will be given the reward of it. However, people will see their deeds anyway, no matter if they will be given reward or not. Why? It comes in a hadith that a person will come and he will say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell him about the ni'mat that He has done on him, that I have done this, and so on. To nearest meaning of the hadith, I don't think I remember it by word. But the guy will respond when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks him, what have you done? He says that he did jihad, or he spent this, or he was a alim, he was calling people to Quran, and so on. All different types of people will be talking about this. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, you did it because of this reason, and He will drag to Jahannam, and you didn't do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what that hadith show basically, that you will be able to see your a'mal. Whether it's going to be a good deed or bad deed, you will still see it. But for the pious, everyone, no matter how pious you are, you will still be doing some sort of crimes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show it to you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable. That's why He says, فَسَوْفَ يُحَاسَبُ حِسَابًا يَسِيرًا. An easy account that you are told, but you're not grabbed for it. If you are grabbed for it, that's you're gone. And that might be come in when you do إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ. That will come in there. So that's basically what is happening in here. Now, what is dharra? The ulama say, what is dharra is النملة الصغيرة في ابتداء حياته. So basically, a ant which is just born, tiny. This is according to them is dharra. But now we can understand what a dharra is. You see, when you look at this sun and you see these little atoms of things. This is what dharra according to them. But now we can even understand more when we talk about atoms, how tiny, how minute they are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold accountable to people for that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will free people for that as well. And one thing that we need to remember when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says dharra, فَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ, that everything will be brought to account. Just imagine your situation, how it works. You are here learning Quran, spending time, you are giving your precious time, concentrating to learn the Quran and so on. However, it is your parents who have made it easy for you. They are working for you. They are sending you. They are encouraging you. They're doing all those things behind the scenes, like those big names that you hear, Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Hanifa, and so on. All these big guys that you hear their names, behind them were their parents. They worked hard. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not neglect them. This is why He says, فَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ. You might not see their deeds. You only see the big guys on the face. However, the things behind it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not let it go. Allah will bring it to account. Or maybe take a situation in here. You are a person who earns in hundreds of thousands a year. And now the masjid needs some sort of help, and then you give about £200 on a Friday, and mashallah, Dr. Saab will be saying, mashallah, you have done the job, and so on, and everyone will be praising you, that mashallah, you are amazing. But then there is this person like Shabir, he comes in and doesn't work, and he gives £5, and maybe that he has saved that for weeks upon weeks, maybe to buy himself a burger meal or something like that. But because he really wants to help the masjid, and he gives that. This person who could give in 1,000, he only gave 200, and this person who didn't had much, this was the only little thing that he had, he gave this. Which one will be valuable in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be this £5. This person who was really for the sake of Allah. The other guy didn't even feel the burn of it. It didn't cross a mind. But in this dunya, people praise the one who gave more, but on the day of judgment will be that who was more for Allah. Does that make sense? The one you see on the scenes does not have to be the one lovable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one Allah is going to honor. It's not going to be like this. It's about how you're doing it. Maybe a person who's praying 5 times a day, mashallah, amazing, but whatever he does outside, he does. But then this person who comes, who is engulfed in filth, he's been maybe selling drugs for so long, he's been alcohol and all sorts of haram he has been doing. But he comes in sincerely and he stands up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants to please Allah and he stands. And then in that he only prays that one salah and he's gone in it. That person, there are more chances Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have enabled this person to go to Jannah than that person who's been praying 5 times a day and then doing whatever he's been doing outside. So meaning doing haram and all sorts of crimes. So I hope the point makes sense. That it is not the deeds that you might be seeing something minute. It might be minute in your sight, but it's not in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do not look down upon anyone or anyone's deeds. So I hope this point makes sense. And both the ayahs are covered in that fashion. وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. And whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. And this is very, it will hit home for those people who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like in this dunya, when these criminals, they might do some shocking crimes, but they won't feel anything about it. They will be doing all sorts of haram. Look at these rulers that we have, the tyrants that we have. They are doing all sorts of crimes, but when it comes Hajj, maybe they're going to inside the masjid and they're taking pictures and making du'as like they are, mashallah, they are the guns of the society. However, under their hands, the people have died, people have lost their houses, people have become orphans and so on. This is their situation. So they don't have anything, they don't really feel that. However, this pious person, even a slightest, even by mistake, some sort of bad things comes out from his tongue, he remembers, it hits him straight away, that I have done something huge. This tiny mistake in sight of those criminals is something huge inside of this pious person who wants to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it relates to this. وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. And whoever does an atom weights of evil will see it. Like this pious person who can see a tiny mistake that he has done, he remembers and he repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Similar will be the case of those criminals who saw huge mistakes, huge crimes inside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as something minute. They will be given their lesson. And it comes in a hadith, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was advising Aisha radhiyallahu anha. He comes, things in Ibn Majah. He says, يا عائشة إياك ومحقرات الأعمال فإن لها من الله طالبا. nearest meaning of the hadith. Messenger of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to me, meaning Aisha narrating about herself, "O Aisha, beware of evil deeds that are regarded as insignificant, for they have a pursuer from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala," meaning accountability is there for it. So no one is going away with it. Oh, subhanallah. One hadith that comes regarding this two ayats, which is beautiful. There was a person, to nearest meaning, he was asking questions, and Rasul did not tell him anything, but he says, "Ma unzila alayya fiha shay'un illa hadhihi al-ayah." So he's referring to that thing that nothing has been revealed to me regarding that. However, I have this ayah, al-jami'atul fadha. This is an ayah which is so comprehensive of all the verses, which is مَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. Whatever good you do, if you do a good deed in atom weight, you will see it, and if you done an evil, you will see it. So this is beautifully done. This is how comprehensive this ayah is. Just linking the beginning and the ending of the surah. In the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a shock. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, at the granditude of the quake of the earth. Now, finding the tiniest of the sins, this is another shock given. So throughout, the criminal will be seeing shocks upon shocks. This will continue till he goes to Jahannam. So this is Surah Zilzal. Now going to Al-Adiyat. This surah has lots of opinions with regards to, it talks about the horses basically, but some of them makes it to be sacred horses, and others say these are the horses of thieves. Those people who say this is Meccan, even though if you look at the Quran, you will say Makkiyun, so it is a Makki surah. At this stage, there is no jihad, no one is going to battle, no one is thinking about Badr and so on. So if we say it's a Makki surah, even though there are opinions that it is a Madani surah, then it was only, these are the horses of these thieves basically that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. And that makes more sense, because later on in Innal Insana li Rabbihi Lakanud, it will only link better if we link it to the horses of thieves. But inshallah we'll talk about it and you will understand it better. So the situation of Mecca at the time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings their account in Quran. وَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّا جَعَلْنَا حَرَمًا آمِنًا وَيُتَخَطَّفُ النَّاسُ مِنْ حَوْلِهِمْ. To nearest meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds some of His favor on these Meccans, on these people who are called Haramiyun, yeah? Those people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind them that look around you. People were being snatched around you, meaning they were robbed, they were looted, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you safety. So what basically we're learning is that they were looters, they were thieves and so on, the situation. And this surah, if you say it's Makkiyun, then it will relate to that situation basically. In this surah, in simple terms, just to understand the entire summary of the surah, then when we do the translation, it will make sense. In simple terms, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses those people's, their own imagination, their own understanding against their behavior with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now look at those horses who are under your command. You are like their masters basically, yeah? They are ready to sacrifice their lives. They even rush faster when they see the spears, okay, on your order. However, look at your situation with your master. How ungrateful you are. Use your own imagination and think, are you better than these animals who understand their purpose, or you are? Who is better? Would you keep a horse that is not fulfilling these purposes, or you're going to be just, you leave it, or you're going to be honoring that? How do you expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to honor you like you don't honor a horse which does not fulfill its purpose? You are that kind of a horse basically, worse than the horse that does not look after, or that does not fulfill its purpose for the purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent you here. So this is basically the entire summary. But now to break it down, if you look at the Quran, it will make more sense. The first ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives 5 conditions, and they are witnessed on the next ayah, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ, that how ungrateful you are. Look at these amazing things that this horse is doing, and look at your situation. How strange, how irrational is your way of thinking. And then thereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, in al-insan li rabbih lakanud, the marad, the illness of the human being has been talked about. Thereafter in ayah number 8, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the reason of this illness, and at the end, أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ, till the end, Allah gives you the medicine. So everything. The illness is talked about, the reason for it has been talked about, and how to cure it, all has been given in this surah. So now inshallah we'll go to it, even though we go linking, yeah? But we will leave the linking because we don't have time. Okay, just going to the surah directly. وَالْعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْحًا, by the racer panting. So ضبح, panting, it shows that this horse is serious about its matter. Like how its full determination has been talked about of this horse. What is your situation when it comes to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَالْمُورِيَاتِ قَدْحًا, and the producers of sparks striking. Like if this horse is like running on live coal, yeah, when you must have seen horses when it goes on the concrete, you can see the sparks. And this horse which is rushing and racing, is like the fire is coming out. That's how serious, that's how concentrated this horse is on its mission. What is your situation, O human being? Ayah number 3, فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا, and the charges at dawn. So this is the purpose of the horse, that it races toward this place, and this is, we said, is being to loot. Yeah, so this is going at this time, and the ulama say why subha has been used, because at the time other words could have been used, yeah, but subha is used for a purpose, and I think Rasulullah used it when he was giving the first revelation to the people, the first da'wah, where he called out ya sabaha, ya sabaha, yeah, and this is normally used at the time. It was like mass communication usage, where you call people to inform them of some sort of big issue, some sort of big calamity. So same thing, that فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, that these people, or this thing that is going to attack, is going to be a bigger calamity on the people that is attacking. Ayah number 4, فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقَعًا, stirring up thereby dust. Yeah, this is talking about morning. Yeah, normally you don't see any dust in the morning. It's always quiet and smooth. But these horses are racing so fast that dust are like tornado of dust is happening in this calm morning. And another thing, the ulama say with فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا, that why these criminals attacked in the morning. One, the Arabs saw it out of their might, out of their honor, to attack people during the night. So this was against their kind of ego. Yeah, we can't attack people when it's morning. So it's night. So they did it in the morning. And also these are called lazy hours. So they were clever. Yeah, those people who are ill, or those people who can't even sleep all night, but when it's that late night, or just about to be Fajr, people fall asleep. So they were very clever, and they used that time to attack. So they were very cautious. فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا, arriving thereby in the center collectively. So it is to attack, it is to take over whatever they have come for, whatever purpose they have come basically. And this فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا, meaning they arriving, yeah, they do not, these horses do not change their intention when they see some sort of defense, when they see some sort of spears, when they see some sort of swords. They do not care about their lives, they do not care about their own emotions when it comes to serving their master. And that example, you might not understand what horses and how it works, yeah. However, you can take example of a dog nowadays, yeah. Those people who these dogs who even sacrifice their own lives just to look after the person who's been petting him for a little while, yeah. This is the situation of the animals. How sincere, how true they are to their master. And what does this master do basically? It only feeds, and they only feed that thing which was provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what they do is to sacrifice everything. Now imagine what is your situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you A to Z, and you have been given instructions, you have been sent commands, and everything has been clarified to you. But on top of that, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains this better. Indeed, mankind to his Lord is ungrateful. Look at the situation of animals and look at your own situation when it comes to obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And lakanud, ulama say, what is it? It's al-kafur. It's being ungrateful. It's not being showing, not giving the gratitude that needs to be given. Like you are given something as a gift, like everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to us. You say al-mun'im, He is the gifter. Everything that we have is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you in here, He has given you the knowledge of Quran. You are sitting in the halaq of Quran. How are you going to be grateful to this service, to this Quran? Is that you implement? You call other people to it. So this is your being grateful for the ni'mah. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you other blessings. Okay, you are given you wealth, given you health, given you all those things. You will utilize all of that in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is you being shakur. This is you being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are many other things we could have talked about, but we don't have time. Ayah number 7. وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ. And indeed he is to that a witness. There are two ways we can take this ayah. One, if he's talking about this very human being who is witness to these crimes, he exactly knows that what he is doing is wrong. Like a thief. Why does he go during the night? Why does he steal when people are not watching? Because he knows it's wrong. So he is shaheed over that. He is witness over his crimes, that what he is doing is wrong. Or when you're lying, when you're cheating, when you're doing anything, you know internally what you're doing is wrong, but you still do it. So you are witness over to yourself. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا وَلَوْ أَلْقَى مَعَاذِيرًا. Rather, man against himself will be witness even if he presents his excuses. He knows. Yeah, no matter how much you put sugar coated, you know you are lying, you know you're deceiving. So you know basically what is happening. And if you say this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is witness over this, then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is witness over it, mean their consequences are waiting on Day of Judgment for it as well. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. Why does this insan have this illness of being ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where he does not recognize Allah? The reason for that is here. وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. And indeed he is in love of wealth, intense. This could be both, that he loves the wealth, and other is that he is extremely stingy. He everything he sees himself in, his status is through this wealth. And another thing is that he's grabbing, he's not even giving it out. No matter how much, even if it might be a person who doesn't have a pound, or maybe not pound, 1,000 pounds, but he's so stingy on it. Yeah. So this still, even though he doesn't have millions and billions, but he's still loving the wealth. So he's stingy. And the other person who sees only his status through the wealth. And this will come in Surah Fajr. Inshallah, we will do that. We will find out their situation. So here is the love of a person with the wealth. However, the love of a person, of a human being, a true human being who really recognizes his true potential, his love is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Same wording, yeah? وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. And there is وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Even he knows that this wealth, for 10 years, if he's been saving it, he will be doing lots of things with it. But he sees that here, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more important to me than my being stable after 10 years. So he will spend it in the path of Allah. So his love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come at the front than his own love for the wealth. So everything, basically, the things that he does, he will be following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything will be based on that. And like the person who is loving the wealth, he will be following the wealth, and every other situation of his life will be based, and he will be judging everything based on the wealth. Who he needs to meet, who he needs to have friendship with, who he needs to have ties of kinship and so on, all will be based on the wealth. However, if it's a Muslim, it will be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does this thing please Allah? Yes, I am with this person. It does not, I am free from that. Simple as that. And I think it comes in Farsi, yeah? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read it right, but it's beautiful poetry. So it says, Abi andari zir kashti pushti as. Ab dari kashti halak kashti as. As long as the water remains under the boat, it helps the boat to sail. But if the water seeps into the boat, it sinks. Similarly, this wealth, if it remains outside you to carry you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's that kind of boat. But if it goes inside your heart, you start loving this wealth, that's it, your ship has gone. And another mufassir of Quran, he gives amazing example, yeah? That you need to see the wealth in a fashion is a bad example. What can we do? Yes, it only makes sense to say it now. Is that when the wealth, how do you need to see it? Like, how do you see the need of going to toilet? Yeah, that you need to go to toilet. You're not going to be loving to spend your time there. Yeah, this is not your goal to stay in the toilet. You need to do whatever you need to do, finish that and come out. Same thing, use the wealth for whatever purpose you need to do, then come out. Don't start loving the wealth. So, yeah, that's there. Okay, ayah number 9. أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. But does he not know that when the contents of the grave are scattered? And here there are beautiful explanation that has been given. But one simple one that we can take, you see these people like leaders, the government leaders, leaders of whatever leaders, yeah, they do things to sugarcoat stuff, yeah, even though they have bad intentions. Like you will be able to see here about countries that they attack other countries for peace and security and so on. But the reality is for oil, it's to steal their stuff, yeah. So they will have one slogan, but in the reality they will have something different internally. Similarly, you will be seeing people going to Hajj and Umrah, and you'll be seeing these people who are going to this wall, yeah, these presidents, they will be going to this wall to worship, but in reality they do not really believe it, but there is another purpose on it. Same thing, those people who have this face of mashallah and reality they're shayateen, they will come to existence. You cannot hide it away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is further explained. وَحُصِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. And that within the breast is obtained. You cannot hide it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And another thing, yeah, we talked about the raiders at the time, those people who attack, yeah, with the horses. You think you are some sort of amazing raider? Imagine how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raid you on Day of Judgment. You will be scattered around. So it's amazingly how beautifully the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds. And the last ayah, إِنَّ رَبَّهُمْ بِهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَخَبِيرٌ. Indeed, the Lord with them that day is fully aware. It is not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not aware now, but it is from His established sunnah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows these criminals to do whatever they are doing now. But on that day, they will be given its full accountability. So in this dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is fully aware. On that day, they cannot escape. And another way of understanding this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them aware of their deeds on Day of Judgment, what they have done. Something that they did not want to even confront themselves. Yeah, because sometimes people do crimes and they don't even want to think about it. Forget doing in front of people or mentioning it. They don't even want to mention it to themselves. Yeah, on that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you aware. So it's a scary situation. Now, linking beginning and the ending, like we said, the raids have been talked about at the beginning, and similarly, raid is happening to the person. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the temporary masters at the beginning, the masters of the horses, and what is your situation to it. Now, you are really meeting your true master, the permanent master on Day of Judgment. How did you utilize? Did you really give? Did you really live the purpose? Like how the horses live their purpose and did whatever they could? Did you do that? Or you were worse than animal? كالأنعام بل هم أضل أو إن شر الدواب. Or like we did this in the previous surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about these criminals who lost their purpose, who neglected the bayyina. That was أولئك هم شر البرية, the worst of the creatures. They are the worst in those horses, those animals that at least they are fulfilling their purpose, but you have lost your purpose. May Allah not hold us accountable for any shortcomings. جزاك الله خير for coming. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر.